In my last video, I'd filmed a performance of a track I recorded where all of my guitar tones were created using only an amp and one specific drive pedal. And today, I'd like to talk about that pedal.
Talk about tracks.
The pedal I'm talking about is the Royal Pain version 2 by York Electronics. And I'd like to thank Ian York for sending me this pedal to try out. I had a blast learning it, playing with it, and I'm not returning it. I am keeping this one, and it is on my pedal board permanently. If you like what you see in this video and you want one of these pedals, I will put a link in the description to his website so that you can check these out and you can buy one and get one for yourself. In order to truly demonstrate what this pedal can do, I put some parameters around how I would use it for the recording process. One is I wanted to limit the amount of guitars I use, so I only used 2 different guitars just to give a couple tonal options, and I played it all through 1 amp and 1 amp setting only, and let the pedal do the rest. For my guitars, I used the PRS NF53 and a PRS KA77, which is a custom guitar they built for me several years ago. For my amp, I used the Fractal Axe-Fx 3, and I used the ODS 100 clean setting, which is basically a Dumble overdrive special. I have it set to just pass edge of breakup, so that there's a little bit of grit in the tone. That way I'm able to use the drive pedal not only as an overdrive, but also as an underdrive. The way that I achieve this is by turning the drive knob all the way down and the volume knob to about 9 o'clock, which cleans up the tone. It actually takes some of the grit out of the amp itself. I'm able to get a nice, warm, clean tone. One last thing about this pedal before I dive into the track itself is that on the inside it does have some switches so you can change how aggressive or how light the overdrive is. I did not mess with any of these. I just use it as is straight out of the box so that I could demonstrate what this pedal can do. If you go buy it and you decide to plug it in and play it yourself, this is what it'll do straight out of the box. Now this pedal is a dual drive. There's a right and a left, or in this case, it's a red and a yellow. It's a blues breaker circuit. Both circuits are identical on each side, but a lot of pedals of this style, the 2 sides will sound a little bit different from each other. In this case, the red side is a little bit darker than the yellow side, so I used both individually to get some different tone options within the same pedal. One thing I found about this pedal too is that even though there's the one tone knob, you can do a lot with the tone using all 3 of the knobs. The tone knob is basically a bright and a dark. It really doesn't have as much to do with low end and mid range as you would think. It's more like a treble knob if you think of it that way. The drive knob is more of your mid range. The more you drive it, the more mid range push it has, a little bit more compressed that it gets. The volume knob is where you get your low end. So if you really crank that volume knob, you can get a lot of low end. So if you really want that fuzz pedal kind of sound, you can crank the volume knob, and then you can mess with the drive knob depending on how much grit you want, and you can really achieve a cool sound with that. You can also dial back the volume knob and mess with the drive so you get a more articulate sound. You can even go as far as to getting crunch out of it. This works really well for lead tones and power chord driven rock rhythm tones. Now let's dive into what I got this pedal to do. For this first guitar part, I wanted something a little bit more than a clean boost. I wanted to enhance what the amp was already giving me, plus a little bit more. Here's the settings that I settled on for this pedal. I used my NF53 on the bridge pickup. Let's take a listen. That came out really nice to me. I really love how warm this pedal sounds. It gives the right amount of bottom end, but not too much to make it too muddy. It's the perfect sound I was looking for this track. For the next part, I wanted something a little chimier, so I dialed in the pedal to give me an underdrive to clean it up a little bit. I used my KA77 on the neck pickup, and this really came out nice. I love the way that this part sounds. Let's take a listen. That came out really nice. I also cranked the tone knob because I wanted a little bit of that brightness on the top. Came out perfect. This pedal really did a great job on this. For the rhythm guitars, which I panned left and right in the track, I wanted something with some actual overdrive. I did some that was just like a crunchy rhythm, as well as some big power chord parts. Here's how I dialed in the pedal to get that. I ended up using the yellow side of the pedal because it was a little bit brighter, gave me a little bit more of the definition I was looking for. Let's take a listen. Rock and roll. I wanted to add a little melodic texture in the track. I could hear in my head what I wanted, but I didn't know exactly how to get there. So after playing around with this pedal for a little bit, what I settled on was the yellow side with a little bit of drive. The NF53 on the neck pickup, it really came out nice. I love how that tone came out. I added a little bit of delay, just what I wanted. In the bridge of the track, I did this little lick, but I wanted it to be kind of dark. So this is where I boosted the volume, messed with the drive just a little bit, but I wanted that darker sort of thing. Using the neck pickup on my NF53 and using these settings on the pedal, I was really able to achieve the sound that I was looking for. Came out nice. And here's what I did for those little chimes at the end of the bridge. Pretty simple, little bit of drive. Sounds great. And finally, the big lead guitar solo. That's what everybody's looking for. Here's the settings I used for this. Put the volume almost 12 o'clock, drove it pretty hard, tone knob a little bit past 12 o'clock. Man, it really gave me the mid-range push and the amount of overdrive I was looking for to really have it pop out of the track, really give that soaring sound I wanted. Added some delay on top of that. Man, it's perfect. Let's take a listen. I used the red side of the pedal on this one, and it really came out awesome. I'm really happy with how this sounds. So there you have it. With the exception of using a delay pedal, the only other pedal I used on this entire track was the Royal Pain, and it really worked awesome. This pedal is super diverse. I kept the amp on one setting the whole time. I only used 2 different guitars, and I was able to do all of that with this one pedal. If you're looking for just one pedal to do an entire track and cover everything that you want it to do, I highly recommend this one. There are other pedals in this exact same style that can sometimes go for multiples of hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars on the secondary market. This pedal is only about $200. Like I said, I will put a link in the description below to the website. please order one. Ian, thank you again so much for sending me this pedal. I really love it. Again, you're not getting it back. It's mine now. This thing's going to live on my pedal board. I absolutely love it. I will be using it over and over and over again. That being said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please go back and check out my other videos, especially the performance video for this one so you can really hear it in the proper context. Please comment, let me know what your thoughts are, and if there's any other gear that you want to hear me talk about, please let me know. And happy creating.